conduct that back-end investigation, which I did have the talk, and let them know in so uncertain terms, it's not just the people of Louisville that you owe an explanation to. You owe an explanation to black people, period. Because this is not an isolated incident. Every time something happens, y'all want to talk about Ahmaud Arbery. Then y'all want to talk about George Floyd. It's always somebody else. No, this is one problem. So this was the problem that we felt needed to be addressed. And we needed to address it because you ain't saying nothing. Don't take this the wrong way, but these canned responses that were written by a speechwriter, that's not keeping it real with us, as we say. We grown folks, we can handle the truth. So our goal was to come down and do the second part, because I told them, if I don't feel like you telling me the truth, or if you tell me something that's not going to satisfy what these people want, I'm going to bring my people in, just to emphasize that we really want the truth. And that's what today was. I'm delivering on my part of the bargain. Now, what they told me is what I told them. I hope they didn't lie to me. I really don't. Because we can get to a resolution on this. And so somebody can have justice for Breonna. That's all this. All that other stuff is extra. It's extra. So that was the goal. Now, how I felt it went great. The place is not on fire. You're not running and shit. Okay? Let y'all bleep that out. The cameraman still got his camera. Okay? Ain't nobody took your car. We're not going door to door killing people. Okay? It's not chaos in the land like everybody doom and gloom like they forecast because black people armed themselves. None of that happened. My people performed professionally. They were militant.
You made it clear that you want to see some action. It's been 4 months since Breonna Taylor was killed. How much time after today is it yet again not acceptable that we're not getting any answers?
Okay, so I need everybody to stop suffering from what we call quarantine amnesia. You see, everybody talks like the quarantine didn't happen. Like it's been business as usual for 4 months. It has not. The whole world got terrified, ran in the house and closed the door, scared to breathe and cough. Nobody gave a damn about the judicial system. Everybody act like that didn't happen. We didn't come out of our cave until like the end of May sometime. Then we got to business. So really it hasn't been 4 months. It's been June and July. So even though the murder happened back then, we only were able to deal with it once we realized that we wasn't going to drop dead from COVID-19.
Talk a little bit about the turnout today. Happy with the turnout, the amount of people, and
I stood down a greater portion of our group because once we did the walkthrough last night, we realized that if we put 5,000 people in here, they wouldn't all fit. You have people all the way back here, and there's no controlling what would have happened. So we brought the group number down, and they performed admirably. So I'm very satisfied. Very satisfied.
You said when you spoke to Cameron, did he tell you that it will take 4 additional months to recreate the scene for where Taylor was killed?
He said it would take 4 to 6 months additional from the time he received the case. And he received the case last week. And I told him that was unacceptable.
And also, too, did you tell him that, the 4-week deadline, that how we want, the investigation basically completed within the next 4 weeks?
Yes.
And what was his response?
He says as soon as I receive the case, I'll give it the emphasis that it deserves. And from everything that I've seen them doing, they busting their ass. I will say, I've watched. They busting their ass to get to the bottom. They've got so many things to reconstruct. That, for instance, the police report is blank. Like, I saw it, it's blank. Like, name nothing. Not redacted, blank. So now we got to go back and figure out what happened. Got to talk to some people. Got to go take some pictures. Got to try to figure out. Got to look at. Got to listen to some Ray. Got to rebuild this shit. And I understand that. It took them 2 months to do Ahmaud Arbery. They just went to trial last week. That boy got killed back in February. We went down there to visit them in May. They just went to trial. Okay? This is going to, now that it's in the appropriate hands,
With today, there was a lot of talk about other groups showing up to protest, you guys protesting. We, for the most part, only saw a small amount of 3%ers, and aside from that, we haven't really seen much. Can you talk about that response, what you guys saw, what you were expecting, and kind of how it went?
There's nothing to say. We don't respond to threats. We didn't come here to fight anybody. Our mission has been said over and over again. We are here for the protection of black people. Like, that's such a crime. They got a problem with us. They made threats against us. They didn't make good on their threats. We don't care because we don't scare. That's my answer.
What's next for the NFAC, specifically here in Louisville?
Well, we entered into a partnership with some of the organizations here, some of the neighborhood organizations, to assist them in the building of neighborhood policing models, also neighborhood policing, neighborhood community building, proactive versus reactive, work along with them, gun ownership, training, and also addressing ills within their community. For instance, Claude Anderson talks about group economics, establishing agreements that if a business comes into their neighborhood, they have to sign an agreement that 50% of their profits have to go back into that neighborhood. Or you can't do business with us. If you're gonna gentrify us, you can only do it if we have first dibs at what you build. Or you can't come in. We've agreed to help out with that, even if it means us. Can somebody turn off the goddamn radio, please?
Radio back here, sir.
Turn it off. Turn off the goddamn radio.
On his back.
Thank you. Then turn it off. Thank you. Sorry. This is a family show, right? All right, you bring the kids
We're
back
all
in.
family.
You bring the kids back in. So there are other efforts that we're doing that I won't go into liberty because of who they are, but we're assisting the same way we're assisting in some other cities. So that's what we're going to be doing here. And even if we have a hot spot, we'll assist. Remember, we're here to assist. We're not here to take anybody's place. We understand every place has their own dynamics, their own politics, their own problems, their own tragedies, like what happened with Ms. Taylor. She was just the catalyst that brought us in to work along with these people.
Are you confident in 4 weeks you will get what you guys are asking for, which is, I mean, essentially justice, charges? Are you confident in 4 weeks that can be delivered?
There's two answers. My opinion, based on what I've seen, is that they will do everything in their power at the AG level to try to send something back down that is action. Do I believe they can do it in 4 weeks when it normally takes 8 weeks? Well, let's just say I wouldn't want to be in their shoes if I didn't.
Today, you know, when you were speaking to the crowd just a little earlier ago, you were saying today no one had to use their weapons. Possibly next time that might not be the case. You also talked about how, you know, the only shots that did go off today were by someone of your own. Can you just talk a little bit about what happened? I know a lot of people have been wondering, you know, how are they? How did this happen? Those types of things.
We are a safety-first organization. Every one of our members, before we allow them to carry a weapon, they have to sign an indemnity agreement. So if they accidentally kill someone, they can't turn around and sue NFAC, meaning you're a responsible gun owner. You then have to have your weapon inspected by me or one of my commanders to make sure that it's safe. During our safety inspection, an individual, hold on a second, who partying and having a good time? I'm at the wrong party? Okay, I need y'all to shut that down for me. During one of our safety checks, one of our individuals accidentally fired their weapon. That weapon injured a couple of people. Both those people are going to be okay. We did have our own medics on site. Like I said, a lot of us are ex-military, some of us are combat medics. But the police department had agreed that we would have EMS resources on, and of course they were engaged immediately. We secured our own people. They let us secure our own people. Most people don't realize what they actually saw was an example of community policing. They waited for me to arrive so that I could direct how this was going to go. Otherwise, what most of us are used to is the police come in, grab everybody up, you know, people get brutalized, and there's nobody from our community that has any authority in the issue. That is why another thing that we're doing is we open up dialogues. We're not being your buddy. We're not joining you. We're partnering with you. The same way the United States partners with countries that it really doesn't like. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So we had that model in effect. So they worked along with us. They resolved the issue. They did exactly what we had agreed on. I had an agreement with Major Gregory that if anything happened, him and I would split the authority, technically giving me the authority over the police department, temporarily, okay, on his behalf. All right, so that's why you see me talking to them. I'm not just talking to them. He gave me authority. That's an example of us working together. Okay, we will address threats, but let y'all try to clean it up first.
They might have some more questions, but my last question for you is, you guys really were so organized, probably some of the most organized, individuals that I've seen in a very long time. You came out, you guys got on one knee as a group over and over, had your fists in the air together over and over. Can you kind of talk about that community, that camaraderie, and what message that sends to the people who are going to be watching our newscasts?
Unity is not something that you say I am. Unity is not everybody standing together like you saw right now. Unity is a frame of mind. It is the taking off of mental chains. And all of these people have taken off their mental chains, and they understand that no matter what our differences are, we're all the same and we have a common problem. And people keep threatening us. So when you threaten us, see, the us is truly us, it's easy to get on one accord. And we're on one accord. We're on code, as they say. And because we all love each other, we love our people in spite of our differences, which is what everybody else does, the example that it sets, not only for the world, but to our young people, is a message that's much needed today. So I think that when they see people like us that look like them doing things like this, it inspires them. And it also restores hope for a lot of older people who thought they were going to leave this world. They got one foot in the grave and one foot on the banana peel. They see there is hope for the race, and they can go into that good night with a smile like your own. And then all of the people who died in the 60s, brutalized in the 70s, died of crack in the 80s, got shot down by police in the 20-teens. At least they can rest a little better from the ancestral side that the brothers and sisters are doing something together. That's what the message that we send. And it's being sent to melanated people all around the world. And we know what's good for us is good for you. Whatever's good for black people, it's good for white people. That's why you're smiling. Okay?
And just to be clear, you said that the Attorney General said that he just got all the documents from the mayor, correct? From Louisville, City of Louisville. He told you that? Okay.
That is correct. As of last week, a week ago. Now, I'm not sure that they did that because we were talking to them or that more attention was coming. But at the end of the day, you all have to understand the man said he didn't have all the facts. And you all are beating him up. And y'all think he's ignoring you. No, he's waiting on them to give him all of the facts. But now you got to ask yourself, what happened to the facts? That's why the FBI had to come in like, hold on a minute. Where the facts at? And then all this tap dancing and everybody lawyering up, people quitting their jobs. Where the facts at? Because the fact of the matter is something crooked was done. And I'm not at liberty to go into the dirty details, but I will tell you this. When he comes back with what he's going to do, and the FBI comes back with what they need to do, all y'all going to be surprised. Because I know I was. That's why you don't hear me saying, let's go arrest the police right now. I know some stuff. I need y'all to know it. Now, if they don't do what they're supposed to do based on what we know, they going to have a problem then.
Anything else from anyone?
Any final thought you want to get out there, or haven't hit on yet?
Last thought is that the NFAC is not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a while. The NFAC, anybody got a towel?
No.
Somebody stole my towel? See, we got to stop that.
hot out
Fever,
there.
yeah, fevery. Anyway, the NFAC is not going anywhere. It's going to get bigger. As a matter of fact, it's grown exponentially in the last 2 months because our problem is here. The last thing I want to say to everyone who's watching, stop thinking that when you see a black man with one of these, that there's a problem. If you have a guilt complex or an inferiority complex, get help. We deal in facts, not feelings. The last message I want to say is this. To all of the families out there that have lost loved ones at the hands of the police or at the hands of racism, call us so we can find out the truth for you. But if you can't get in touch with us, constitutionally, you're authorized to find out on your own. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Here you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to pass this off to you. My cell phone number is on there. If there's ever anything that we can do specifically